Hi everyone. So my name is Aude. I'm a French art director. My first touch point with design was because of my love of drawing. I've always been drawing a lot since I'm a kid, and I had this interesting period of my life where each year I was looking to the drawing I was doing when I was younger, or just even the previous year, and I found they were very ugly, and this was a little sad, but on the other hand, it was satisfying because my eye was getting educated. So on the other hand, it was satisfying. This led me to study graphic design. First, typography. I get specialized in typography because I felt it was quite mysterious and I didn't get it too much. So I got specialized in creating fonts. And then I traveled. I discovered all the possibilities from web design, and I traveled from Los Angeles, Barcelona, Paris, London, and now I'm living in New York. I'm working now for Elephant, which is a sister agency from Huge. Each company I worked for, I chose them with this first criteria in mind, is do they care about beauty? Is what they do beautiful? And at the origin, I first chose the agency that was working with luxury clients, because for me it would have been easier to find beauty in luxury and working with beautiful content. Of course, it was interesting, but then I challenged a little myself and decided to look for beauty in other type of industries, like food, bank, and it's interesting. I also did a lot of personal projects, and I explored beauty in them. Si Le Soleil is one of them. I'm passionate about sailing, and it's about a sailing trip I did from France to Canaya. Check it out. So in my art director daily life, I have a lot of decisions to take about beauty, a lot of discussion with colleagues, creative director, or younger designer, and beauty is part of really my daily life, and it's quite a hard work to define. So today what I'm going to try to answer is that question: is beauty in digital trendy or timeless? So first I'm going to try to understand what does beauty mean in digital, and this will help us understand how to create beauty in digital. So as an introduction, before going any further, I want to share with you 3 facts. The first one is that beauty matters. It's scientifically proven. Aesthetic impressions are fast, they are consequential, and they are enduring. So it takes less than 500 milliseconds to have an aesthetic impression before any cognitive process. So also it's consequential. Beauty matters in the sense that beauty influences your emotion, and the emotion influences the way you will interact with the product. So a website that you find beautiful, you will interact better with it. And also this impression lasts, and they will influence your loyalty. There have been rules for beauty. A lot of rules have been set. I'm thinking about closure, proportion, hierarchy, and a lot of other rules. Those timeless rules, if you look at the history of art, they have been challenged all the time. And this is my point today, is that we need a sensation of the new. If you look at something that you find beautiful, it's also because you never saw it before. That's why you need to challenge it. And yeah, this feeling of the unexpected, this wow moment comes because you never saw it before. So if I'm taking, for example, the metaphor of the joke, it makes connection between different pieces of knowledge, and you're gonna love because you never brought them together. And it's quite the same for beauty. So what is beauty in digital? Sorry, I'm gonna drink, I'm very thirsty. Okay, so many think that digital beauty is based on short-lived trends. And so what's a trend? I'm going to first try to describe what's a trend, then how it works in digital, and what's the specificity of a digital trend. So it's a direction of a curve. It has mainly been used by statisticians and economists, and then it has been brought by fashion. if we look at the fashion on women's clothes during the 20th century, we can see that we go from an opposite to another one. And this is a really common pattern for trends. So how does a trend work? It's, as we just saw, a reaction to what has become mainstream. It's also a long process of simmering and observing. It doesn't pop out of the blue. And also, it is rooted in a specific place. Now, how does it work in digital? It's also a reaction to what has become mainstream. For example, I'm thinking about flat design versus skeuomorphism. But it's a much faster process because we are all creative, we are all always looking to inspiration, and also it's on digital. If I publish something, someone on the other place of the planet will always see it, and we can copy and paste so fastly. And also it's not rooted in a particular space, physical space, it's in the part of the global culture. So now if we step back a second, and if we think about famous piece of art, sorry. So for example, Mona Lisa, this work of art has 500 years old, and most of people would find it beautiful. If we think about a website that has more than 3 years old, most of people would find that it's not beautiful. So it seems that digital beauty is based on short-lived trends. But something else is happening. Digital beauty is an evolving language. So if we step back and think about as those trends that have made what the digital is today, let's think about the reason behind the trends. So first of all, I'm thinking about all the effect we did with Flash. We were really constrained by the basic HTML website, and then we discovered we could do drop shadow, glossy buttons, everything. So just we did them all, and it's because of all the new possibilities we had. If we think about the evolution of typography, bigger, bolder, and yes, it's what happened, and also it's because we had more and more web-friendly fonts, and also the computer displays were also approaching the quality of print paper. That's why we could rediscover typography on web and use them big. If we think about, at the origin, the little GIFs, then the Illustrator icons and illustrations, and then pictures, and then video. It's because, for example, for picture, we could do them better, we could load them better, we could appreciate them better. So this has been brought by the technology too. Skeuomorphism is a little different. It brings a gap between physical and digital. So people, for the first time, they had to touch a calendar on their phone with their finger. So we use texture like wood, paper, leather to make them recognize and to make the interface more intuitive. For the flat design, so why Metro Style from Microsoft became so popular too, we had a big need to repopulate content from, we had so many sort of layouts, so we had a big need for modularity. And it was a really good response also to this need for responsive design. So some of the digital trends are based on a reaction to what have become mainstream. I'm thinking about, for example, in 2008, the retro style. But this was everywhere, on the clothes, on the shops, the trend for vintage. So this, it goes from an opposite to another, and it's going to fade quite fast. But most of the digital trends are supported by technique innovation and user experience improvements. So what I would call a trend in digital would be a massive celebration of a new possibility. So at the beginning, everybody does it because it's new, because you never saw it before, so you enjoy this new possibility. Those trends are different. They don't fade the same way as a purely visual trend fade. At the beginning, everybody use it, and after a certain period of time, people would use it when it makes sense. If we put them all next to each other, we can see that this is the pattern of the web design evolution. And we can see that now what we are doing is that we are creating a collective toolbox. And we can now select one effect to express better your thoughts. At the beginning, we were very constrained, and now we have everything on hand to express better what we want to do. So born of experimentation and innovation, digital trends expand the possibilities for creating beauty. Now, digital beauty is an experience. So at the origin, a lot of us come from print design, and as I showed before, all these trends was to be as free as in print design. And the beauty on the web was a beauty of a screen, of a layout. Now, it has morphed to something much more bigger, which is the beauty of an experience. And we can see that animation, transition, has taken a really big place. And we try to be as free as in real life. And in real life, we can see that there is transition everywhere. We don't go from a place to another by just blinking your eyes. And the web now is all made of that. So also, we're moving away from the screen even more. I'm thinking about invisible interface and all this. Alexa, for example, now you just have to speak to do an action. So our role as designer has completely changed. And now beauty doesn't come just from a layout, it comes from an experience. So digital beauty is evolving into immersive, seamless, and transparent experience with no reliance on visual or tactile cues. So for my first question, what is beauty in digital? It's experience generated by an evolving language within an evolving medium. So this is going to help to understand how do we create beauty in digital. So as I said at the very beginning, beauty lives in the present. Your feeling, the feeling that you have at this moment, comes from this connection between a lot of different things that will make sense and will make you feel things in a different perspective. So we need this element of the unexpected to have this feeling of beauty. And most of us, when we see a new trend, we have this feeling of the new. We say, wow, it's so beautiful, I want to do it. And digital trends, as I said, are a massive celebration of a new possibility. And even if they fade not so much, because then we use them when it makes sense, the enthusiasm of people goes down. As soon as everybody does it, we saw it everywhere. We don't have this feeling of the new. So trends are good because they anchor beauty in the present, but beauty does not come from the trend. And we need to use trends as tools to shape beauty. So for a longer wow effect, you need to search beauty somewhere else. And if trends are just tools, what is the thing we are shaping? Beauty needs the unique. As I said, when you see something and you really like it, it's because it's different. And each brand, each project is it's unique. It's already a connection of a lot of different things. And if your design is a symbol of that, if it represents, if it's enhance it, your design will be unique. And people, when they will see it, they will have this feeling of the new because it would be above all trends, even if it used some of them. So it will open connection in people's mind. As I said, now we design for experiences. So what is the kind of experience we design for? Is it an occasional short experience? Is it a really long one? Beauty is not a beauty of a screen, and it's an experience. It lives in the time. So we need to think about beauty in the long term, like how does it live in the time, through the time. So by finding beauty in the uniqueness of the brand, you will create solutions that are not trendy at all. Consistent uniqueness always creates something new. We need to use our brand's DNA as the essence of beauty. Now, beauty speaks to humans. We can see that if we think about the first designs, web design, when the first websites with all these GIFs everywhere, they were more speaking about themselves, and it was more complicated. And we have this trend for the layouts that's going from complex to more simple to invisible. At the same time, user experience has raised a lot of research, and we found our rules. So we can see that simple design is timeless and enduring, but it's also more perceived as not as interesting. So beauty speaks to human as usability speaks more to users, but usability is really important, of course, but it's not all what you need to make a beautiful experience. So we need to immerse ourselves in the customer world of emotion and culture, which is made of a lot of different things, as you can see. And also, when we look at a trend and we say, wow, it's so beautiful, you want to do it. But the way you see beauty is not the same way as a user will see it. And we can see that if beauty requires an element of the unexpected, it also requires some familiarity. And by saying that, I don't say that we need to do exactly what people expect. But if you know who you are speaking to, you will guide it, to this point. So we don't think beauty, we feel it. And by removing the distance between the subject and observer, empathetic design helps us to create works of great beauty. So we need to design for a deep empathy for the world around us. Beauty starts with you. So first, definitely, we need to be curious about the world. It's vital. But also, when I said that we need to represent the brand's DNA, it's like, it's not a magic formula. So we need to valorize this moment of research, which is very important. It's not mathematical. And to make this moment more efficient, also, we need to be inspired all the time. And that it's not inside the web, it's also outside. The more you make connection between little piece of knowledge, the more you will find new ideas. Of course, digital beauty happens when everything works perfectly together and makes sense. As it's an experience, it's not a screen. It's everything should work perfectly together, and it's a layout, but it's also usability, it's also wording, it's everything. So it won't happen by peeling up layers of expertise, but it happens like that. It comes from a collaboration. And we don't, as we just say, we don't design by screen. It's not the greatest way to design anymore, but prototyping is just perfect because you test the design the same way, you make things grow everyone together. So also, for example, in my experience, I saw a lot of some friction between designer and UX because they've been given some stuff they didn't think really on it. And the same, designer have some conflicts with editorial because too many words. You see what I mean? So it's if you make everything grow together and everything participate to that, beauty comes from different person, not just a designer. So designer visions and creativity are crucial for creating a digital experience, but designers don't own beauty. We co-create it. So beauty in digital, it seems to be based on ephemeral trends, but we're in fact creating a language for beauty. And these trends, so it's not opposed, they help us expanding this language for beauty. Now we have all the tools on hand to better express what we think. And this always evolving language shapes web narrative experience that educate our eyes and unlock our mind. By saying that, I'm thinking about this website, like 3 years ago, we found they were beautiful. Today, we don't find it anymore because now we can compare. And beauty comes from comparison. And now we have the tools to judge better and to compare. And now we find it's not so beautiful. But back 3 years ago, we found it was really nice. So we need trends to anchor beauty in the present, but we need to have first a vision. And a vision adapted to your brand DNA will ensure its beauty. Also, if we use trends as tools, if the tools doesn't exist, and if we have the vision first, you will push the boundaries of creativity, of people's skills to exist what doesn't exist before. And maybe you will set a new trend. So it's not enough to think about how people use what we build, we should think about how people feel. We create for people and with people. We should design with love. Thank you.